If you're like most people, Egypt has probably always been on your bucket list. And if that's the case, today's video will be perfect for you as we break down everything that you need to know in order to get to Egypt using points. Egypt is one of those destinations that not many people talk about, but today is your lucky day. We're going to go in depth, teaching you everything you need to know, talking about how you can get there from Australia, what type of points you need, how many points you need, and how to go about booking it. So with that in mind, let's get straight into the video. The first thing we're going to talk about is how we actually get to Egypt from Australia. Now there's good and bad news. The bad news is you do have to take multiple flights because it is so far away. It's pretty much on the other side of the world. But the good news is there's many ways on how you can go about that. There's actually a lot of flexibility here. So you can use Qantas Points, you can also use Velocity Points, and you can use Amex points. I will touch on in a second which points you should use for which different routes, but the routes that you're going to be doing are Sydney to Doha, or you can go Sydney to Dubai, or you can go Sydney to Abu Dhabi. Now, of course, you don't have to fly just from Sydney. You can fly from Melbourne and Brisbane as well, but for this example, I'll talk about Sydney. Once you've left Australia and arrived in either Dubai, Doha, or Abu Dhabi, you'll then want to catch a second flight onwards into Cairo. Cairo is Egypt's main airport, so that is going to be the airport that you arrive in. Now that we have a rough idea on the routes that we can take, let's talk about which points we need in order to go on those routes. So the good news is here, plenty of flexibility. You can use both Qantas points, both Velocity points, and even better would be having Amex points. When you use Qantas points, you'll take Emirates flights and you'll go from Sydney to Dubai. You'll then take a second flight from Dubai into Cairo. Now, Qantas do have decent availability, just depends. Some months have no availability, other months have plenty of availability. In general, there's decent availability using Qantas points, but if you do want even more flexibility, you'll really want to get Velocity points. There's a lot more availability over multiple months using Velocity points and flying on Qatar Airways. Using Velocity points, you can fly from Sydney to Doha and then from Doha into Cairo. If you really want to increase your chances of being able to fly to Egypt pretty much whenever, you will want to collect Amex Platinum membership points. The beauty about these points is you can transfer them from Amex Platinum membership points to about 15 different airlines. Having that flexibility really helps increase your chances of being able to find reward seats. The good thing about having Amex points on this route is you can use Qatar, Etihad, Emirates, Qantas, and Velocity. Those are going to be the main carriers that will be really beneficial for getting to Egypt. So now that we know what routes we should take and what points we should collect, let's talk about how many points it's going to cost us. The first one we will talk about is using Velocity points going via Doha. So we've got Sydney to Doha and then Doha into Cairo. That first flight will cost you 119,000 Velocity points, and your second flight into Egypt will cost you 61,000 points. The total of this for a one-way trip into Egypt will cost you 180,000 Velocity points plus $1,000 in taxes. Now that rate is for a business class reward seat. I only talk about traveling in business class or first class on this channel because when you use points, you can turn a $10,000 ticket into a $1,000 ticket if you know how to use points correctly. I very rarely discuss flying economy using points just because the amount of savings you have is nowhere near what it would be in a business or a first class seat. That's with Velocity points. It does get a little bit cheaper points wise when you use Qantas points. So the first flight will be Sydney to Dubai. Second flight will be from Dubai to Cairo. 119,000 points for that first flight. 43,000 points for the second flight. This totals 162,000 Qantas points, so slightly less than the first example. The only issue is Emirates notoriously have very high taxes when leaving Australia. It's going to cost you $1,600 in flight taxes for this one-way trip to Egypt. When you take all things into consideration, the points you pay and also the flight taxes you pay, you're probably better off using Velocity points. But there is a third option which is both cheaper in points and also cheaper in flight taxes. I harp on the importance of having Amex Platinum membership points enough on this channel, but here you can see just why it's so important. The third example is going from Sydney to Abu Dhabi, Abu Dhabi into Cairo. it'll cost you 120,000 Etihad points. Now, in order to get Etihad points, you need to transfer Amex Platinum membership points to Etihad. This has the same conversion as it would if you were converting them into Qantas or Velocity. The same conversion ratio applies to Etihad. So that first flight will cost you 120,000 Etihad points and 30,000 Etihad points for the second flight. This totals just 150,000 Etihad points, which is cheaper than both using Qantas points and also Velocity points. And the great news about this as well is that Etihad's flight taxes are very, very low. You're only going to pay $400 for both of these flights. The first flight, the flight taxes are about $100. The second flight, it's about $300, totaling just $400 in flight taxes. I hope you can see here the importance of having membership points you can convert into different types of airline points, because just in this example alone, it shows you that you can save on flight taxes, and also it's going to be cheaper points wise as well. The fourth thing I wanted to discuss is how you can find these flights. So it's all well and dandy knowing that we can book them, but how do we go about actually finding them? Sure, you can just jump on the Qantas, Velocity, or the Etihad website and individually search through dates, but a more efficient way is by using a third-party website called seats.aero. Seats.aero pretty much scrapes all the data on the Qantas, Velocity, and Etihad websites, and you can use these filters to give you very specific search results. You can also rank them by date, rank them by business class availability, so I can search all those websites in a matter of seconds. When using seats.aero, type in AUL, which is going to search all of Australia's major airports, and then put in DXB for Dubai, DOH for Doha, AUH for Abu Dhabi. Then once you've found that first flight, search the second flight. Same thing, DXB, DOH, or AUL, and you want to arrive in CAI, which stands for Cairo, which is Egypt's main airport. Then all you have to do is match up the dates between these two flights. Maybe you'll stay a night or two in one of those stopover cities before going over into Egypt. So now we have a pretty good idea on how we get there. Once you've found the flights that you're after, go ahead and book them by using that data on seats.aero and then just searching that exact flight directly on the airline's website. That's it. It's all pretty straightforward now that you know exactly what to do. If you would like me to do a full booking walkthrough, just leave a comment letting me know. And if you've got any other questions as well, just leave a comment and I will get around to them. If you want more help on booking, please check the links in the description. And other than that, I will see you in the next video.